So right now I'm here with Geno Samuel. He is a musician and documentary maker and all around a pretty cool guy. Geno has recently released a documentary on the PMRC and their censorship campaign in the 80s and also releases some pretty cool music. So let's get to the man himself. Geno, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem at all. So I want to start the interview off with talking about your music.
Yes.
How'd you get into making and recording your own music?
Well, I guess my interest in music started probably when I was in the womb. I came from a family of musicians, and my dad used to play piano when my mother was pregnant, and then when I was a little baby too. Then I started doodling on the piano myself from a very young age, and probably started making original music when I was about 9. And I just went from there. I got a keyboard of my own. I got a audio interface of my own in my teenage years, and I really started cranking away and making music. And I think I made over 600 songs at this point.
Wow, that's really cool. What's been your favorite song that you've done so far?
Ooh, I made an album called Cabbage in 2017, and most of those songs in that album are probably some of the best that I've ever made. But it's more of a like an electronic sort of album, kind of inspired by retrowave, I think is what it was called. It was it was synthwave actually. Yeah, back it was a kind of a craze back in 2016, 2017. So yeah, but I do lots of different styles. There's an album that I made kind of amateurishly, but I haven't released it commercially yet. It's from 2013, I think. It's called The Proselyte's Flux. And that's also one of my favorites, but it's more of a progressive rock kind of album. I have a wide range of things that I like to do.
What's your favorite genre to cover?
Mm, probably prog rock at the moment.
Cool.
But I do ping pong a lot. Pretty much every album that I make has its own little world that it inhabits, and I like to try out different things on each album. So I'm kind of working on a country rock album at the moment. That's the first as well.
Wow, that's cool. You got like a lot of different genres, something to please everyone.
Yeah, and in my attempts to please everyone, I end up alienating everyone.
How hard would you say it is to produce or make your own music? Does it come easy, or do you find it's hard to find ideas for songs?
Ideas for songs kind of come spontaneously usually, and it's up to me whether I choose to forget about them and move on with my life, or do I get my phone out and record my little melody in my head, and uh, and going from that, making a single song could take anywhere from maybe a week to maybe a month. It really depends on the complexity of the song. And vocals, lyrics come the hardest for me, I think. I'm much more of a musician and melody maker kind of guy, and not so much as a messenger.
Oh, cool. First song like My Lithuanian Eyes, which is probably one
Uh-huh.
of my favorite that you've done. How long would
Thanks.
that have taken to do with like writing the song, producing it, and I guess filming the music video as well?
Well, well, I was in a sort of band back in secondary school, I guess, which is probably the equivalent of junior high school in the States, and in our little group of friends slash bandmates, one guy came up with the title My Soft Lithuanian Eyes, and apart from just that basic title idea, we just really had no idea what it was going to be like, and so it was shelved until one day, maybe 2 or 3 years after that. I just came up really spontaneously in probably one afternoon. I came up with the whole instrumentals and melody of the chorus, and I made a 3 minute long demo of that. I think it was back in 2014 or 15, and so it lay there until 2017 when I finally finished the song. and then I filmed the video in 2019. Yeah, it was a long time in the making.
Oh, that's cool.
Really comes in spurts.
What would you say has been like the almost shortest time that it's come to produce a song? Like something that's really came to you really fast when making, like not really fast, but something that you got the idea and you were able to like get it down and kind of almost, well, if it turned out perfect or if it turned out bad, what was your fastest almost production?
I'd say probably Table for One from the Shadowplay album.
Mm-hmm.
I came up with the music and lyrics probably on Thursday. I recorded all the instrumentals on Friday. I recorded the vocals on Saturday, and it was all finished.
Wow, three-day run. That's pretty cool. Now, I'm going to swing the subject from music to talk about some of your documentaries that you've made.
Okay.
One of the more recent ones, and probably one of my favorite, was on the PMRC and their fight for music censorship in the 80s. Can you tell us a little bit about this documentary?
Yeah, it's a topic that I've been interested in for a very long time. Basically, it's a tale about the rise of the PMRC, which is the Parents Music Resource Center. It was an organization founded in 1985 by a bunch of Washington wives, like wives of prominent government, guys, like the wife of Al Gore, the wife of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and basically their issue was that modern music in the 80s was too violent, too sexually explicit, too lewd for their children. So they wanted to introduce this labeling system on every record, sort of like the movie rating system, like age ratings and stuff like that. But yeah, it caused quite a commotion in the media back in 1985, and there were some outspoken critics, of course, from the music industry, mainly Frank Zappa and John Denver and Dee Snider, the lead singer of Twisted Sister. And it all culminated in this one 5-hour-long Senate hearing, and what resulted from that was just a blank, like a blanket sort of sticker that said parental advisory, explicit lyrics, and there was no specific age rating or no specific category like this album has drugs, this album has references to sex or violence. It has none of that, just explicit, and that's it. And this is what we still have today. So this is their mark on the music industry, this little sticker.
Yeah, and it's kind of become more of not a thing to restrict people from buying it, but even to make people more intrigued to get an album.
Yeah. Donny Osmond, back during this whole commotion, said that kids go after what's cool, and if you censor it, then it makes it only more cool. So that's, I think, what happened.
Now, what's your opinion on the issues? Do you think that the women who were fighting for this were completely insane, or do you think they had some kind of merit behind it?
I kind of, honestly, I kind of agree with the PMRC. I don't agree with the age ratings and stuff like that, but just saying that it has explicit content, I have no issue with that. But they were really overstating the potential influence of explicit music, and so were their opponents. I think their opponents were really fearing this sort of communist Russia style censorship coming from this sort of procedure, and I think they were both wrong. But I don't really have an issue with the actual sticker.
Have you ever gotten the sticker on any of your albums yet?
No, actually, I avoided all explicit lyrics. I'm pretty sure. I kind of slipped one in. There's a song off the Shadowplay album called Worlds Apart, where the basic lyric in the chorus is "I'm Jupiter, you're anus," but I'm not sure if that's explicit enough to get a sticker.
Yeah, I think that should pass.
That's probably okay.
Yeah.
Not just toilet humor.
Yeah. It's the best kind of humor. Now, for the documentary, what would you say was the hardest part of making it?
Getting all the relevant details together, because there's I use lots of sources from lots of news reports, books published, and especially the main Senate hearing. I watched through all of it, and I picked out the best details. It was a 5-hour long thing, and that was a tough sit through, actually.
For the documentary, how long did it take to edit and write the whole thing in total?
I think from the inception to the final cut, probably about 4 months.
Wow. That's pretty big.
Yeah, it's okay. I just didn't have a lot of free time.
Oh yeah.
If I had more free time, it would be faster.
Do you feel that were you happy with the final cut? Were you was there anything you wanted to put in that you didn't put into the final cut of the documentary, or?
No, I'm actually pretty satisfied with it. Just looking back now, maybe perhaps my narration delivery could be a bit better, but hindsight is 2020. I was still developing my craft of narrating, and I'm not too pleased with it now, but I guess it's okay. But it could be better.
Oh yeah, always open for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are there any other docs that we can expect from you in a similar style coming down the pipeline? Are there any that you've started working on, or any that you've planned to do but just haven't initiated it yet? Or
yeah, I've actually written pretty much all the scripts for two documentaries. First is going to be about Laika, the Soviet space dog, that went to space and never came back alive. So that's going to be maybe about a 20 or 30 minute one-off special. And I also wrote a script for probably a multi-part, maybe a 3-part series about William McGonagall, the so-called worst poet in history. But I have lots of big plans for that one. I need to employ voice actors and illustrators, and that's going to take a while to come to fruition.
Interesting. I wait to hear those. Those sound really interesting. The next subject I'd like to cover is arguably one of your biggest documentaries, or one of your biggest series that you've produced. It's called Chris Chan, A Comprehensive History. It's a series of 40-minute documentaries centered around Kristen Weston Chandler, but now known as Christine, who's a bit of a famous internet figure, primarily known for being a big troll target through their online activities. You've basically made this amazing series. Each episode's 40 minutes, and it basically tracks all of what Chris's life story on the internet and all his activities. What was it like getting into it? What inspired you to write this series or produce this series? Fantastic series, by the way.
Thanks. Well, this started, I think, late 2017. I was getting really obsessed with Chris Chan at the time, and I was kind of annoyed that a series like this didn't exist. So basically, I made it because it didn't exist before. And I just wanted to basically, Christian Weston Chandler has this sort of wiki-style website devoted to him, which documents pretty much every single thing that is known about him. It's coming close to 2,000 pages just about Chris Chan, and basically I use that as my main source for the videos, and it's kind of like a video version of the wiki, or the quickie as it's called. So yeah, I just wanted to make it because it didn't exist, and I guess it makes it easier for people to digest the Chris Chan story. And I present it in a sort of, I guess, neutral way, which is different from pretty much most other commenters about Chris Chan who take advantage of, I guess, his disabilities, perhaps his
quirks.
I guess naivete, and basically just kind of insult him rather than just say what happened. They just kind of it's called a-logging is what it's called in the community, is by pointing out Chris's flaws and saying how better they are than Christian, and I don't do that. I really don't want to do that, and I think many people appreciate that I take a neutral stance on the issue.
Yeah, I think that's one of the separation points and what makes your series like very good, almost a bit esque of kind of a Dateline or documentary that you'd see. I think it's quite frankly amazing. Now, how's an episode usually constructed for this series? You've mentioned that you've used the quickie, but how do you usually structure what topics you're gonna do in one episode? Do you have almost is there like a list of like dates and stuff that you keep on reference for writing, or do you have do you just go by an event basis?
Yeah, there's a feature on the quickie where you can basically look through chronologically all the events that happened in Chris's life, and I use that, and I make and I basically write about pretty much everything that happens, and that which ends up filling up maybe about 6,000 words in the script. So basically that's from 6,000 to 7,000 words is my script limit, and once that's done, that's the episode finished, and that's my writing process and research process. The narration takes maybe a few days. Editing takes close to 2 weeks. So it takes about 2 weeks for a single episode. But writing included maybe 3 weeks. I'm up to part 29 in the scripts, but the videos itself, I'm up to part 13, and I'm working on part 14 now.
Oh, that's very cool. What can we expect in this new part to the Chris Chan series?
Next part, we're really getting into the, I guess the fan favorites timeline of Chris Chan's life. It's the Liquid Chris saga, who was sort of a troll, I guess, but he's thought of very fondly by many people, by most people actually, because he basically convinced Chris that he was trying to steal his identity, and basically hilarity ensued, and there was like a singing challenge between the both of them, and it was quite chaotic because the real Christian was so offended when he was thinking that his identity was being stolen, and it created some really interesting videos from Christian and Liquid Chris as he's called.
Yeah, it's quite the...
So that's coming up in the next 4 or 5 episodes.
Interesting. That's I don't remember that when it was going down, but I remember seeing the videos of it. That was quite an interesting timeline. So I'm excited to see that specific part. But how would you say the reception of the series has been?
It's been overwhelmingly positive, I think, and I'm very thankful for that. Of course, there are some detractors, but that's to be expected, really, especially coming from such a controversial figure as Chris Chan. But yeah, I'm doing okay, and the fans are enjoying it, and I enjoy making it for the fans too.
Oh yeah, I'd say it's a pretty fun series. Well, not the content, but the way it's presented.
Yeah.
What would you say is like your biggest criticism that you do get for the series?
Basically that it exists, I guess. Some people think that Christian should be left alone, and of course I agree with that, but I don't know, the information is there already, and it seems like me doing it does not impact Chris's life in the current day at all. So I think it's okay if I keep doing it, and if anything, my neutral stance kind of convinces people that Chris isn't like an evil monster or anything like that, and if anything, it creates more sympathy for him.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good way of looking at it. A really great thing about it is that it's like it's unbiased, and you're not I wouldn't say, it's just kind of throwing the information out there again, so it's like there's no new dirt on him or no new dirt on any of the trolls, so It's another excellent part of the series.
Yeah, basically, I just want the evidence to speak for itself rather than just adding any commentary of my own.
Right. Because it's like, I feel that there's been too much commentary already put on the issue. Like, he's been in the way of like people talking about him. We've heard the kind of same things again and again. Like, oh, it's so cringy. He's doing gross stuff, but it's like, there hasn't been someone like, which makes this series unique. There hasn't been someone looking at the issue, and well, not the issue, but uniquely looking at him. Now, what would you say is the hardest part of making the series?
I guess just keeping up with my schedule, because at the moment there's a new episode coming up every 2 weeks. I mean, the scripts the scripts themselves are all ready, so that's no issue. Just recording and editing. The editing takes so long. So yeah, and of course, in addition to this, I have a day job, so that makes things a bit more difficult. But yeah, for the moment, it's just the editing, and keeping up with the pace, and trying to maintain consistency and quality as well.
I think it's good that you're like genuinely invested in the quality and not like shooting these out as fast as possible. So that's good. Yeah. What's been your favorite part of the series in general? Like, do you enjoy researching? Do you enjoy the editing of it? What's been like the number one thing that you always look forward to when putting the series together?
When I'm writing the scripts initially, I don't watch any of the videos, or I don't listen to any of the voice calls that were recorded, and I just take the transcripts and pick out the best pieces. And so when I'm finally editing it's actually the first time that I'm watching the videos and listening to the voice recordings, and that's a lot of fun. I think there's some very very zany characters involved, very very interesting scenarios. So editing is probably the part I most enjoy, actually, even though it's probably the hardest as well.
How much editing would you say goes into a single episode? Do you find like the transcripts in the series, for those who haven't seen it, there's whenever a video is played or a character, or there's like audio played, there's a transcript of what the person is saying. I guess including these as well. Is it hard to like transcript or edit everything together? Do you find what's the most difficult part of the editing process? I'd assume that is it, but
that is definitely the hardest part. And in addition to just making the transcripts, whenever there's a voice call or just a voice recording without video, I make like a waveform effect going on just to make the video more interesting to look at. So I just make that in After Effects and Adobe After Effects. It's not difficult. It's just very time consuming, and it kind of takes my PC hostage, when it's rendering. So that's just kind of tedious and annoying. So that's one issue, and the other issue, of course, is the transcripts and syncing the dialogue with the audio as well. And making sure that it's accurate, because lots of the existing transcripts on the Wikipedia are not all that accurate sometimes, because they were just written by, people doing it for free, and maybe sometimes even people who don't speak English as their first language. So I have to correct that as well. And yeah, the voice calls especially are the hardest part of the editing process.
For the editing, though, do you have a favorite thing that you've edited in the series? Like a favorite phone call or maybe video that you put in, or something you had to transcript? What's been your favorite kind of like mini project for the series?
One of my favorites probably in part 11, where Chris Chan goes on a sort of date with a lady who's actually a troll, but he doesn't know about it yet, and then she gets taken away by a man dressed in a pickle suit, which of course is a reference to Chris Chan's infamous hatred of pickles. So that whole like 10 or 15 minute long voice voice recording, which was recorded by that troll girlfriend by a recording device on her person. That was a lot of fun, I think.
Oh, that's cool. That's quite comical. Just like because there's no video, so it's kind of like hearing that too and having the visual image of what he's seeing. So that's quite fun.
Yeah.
How many episodes do you think that will have until we're up to like the current timeline of Chris or Christine's current abode?
I'd say it'd probably be over 40 parts.
Wow,
in total.
that's
so,
like
yeah.
That's gonna be a lot of Chris Chan content.
Oh God, if I keep up this pace of making one every 2 weeks, we should get to part 29 in early 2020.
Wow.
So
that's gonna
so
be
so just so you have an idea of that.
that's
My
crazy.
God.
That's gonna be around 1,600 hours of video.
Oh my God.
That's amazing. This needs to be archived. Somebody needs to send like Blu-ray copies to the Smithsonian. That's amazing.
God,
Well,
Jesus.
I've come to the end of my questions. Just want to thank you for doing the interview. On my Facebook page for the show, you can find links to the PMRC documentary, Geno's Music, and the Christian Weston Chandler documentary as well. I want to thank Geno for coming on to do the interview. And any last words or anything like that?
No, I'm okay. Just thanks for having me. And I'm gonna go to bed now. It's almost 2 a.m. where I'm at.
All right. Well, thank you for staying up for this interview. And yeah,
Hey, it was a lot of fun.